It's okay if you want to identify as a cockroach, but don't come and name what I biologically do and give it something to suit you. What do you mean I chest feed?
I think people's roles, gender, sexuality, you don't drag it with them. You let people be who they want to be.
I've been seeing women who transition to men. They are peaceful.
I cannot just come and shove my identity down your throat. Do you understand? In as much as I want you to accept me, but I need to give you time to understand where I'm coming from, where I am, and where I'm going to.
So dilation in trans, for trans femme people, is when trans woman transitions genetically, the vagina that is created is a muscle that essentially is not used to being a vagina, and so it must be trained. And so by insertion of certain objects.
All right, let me say a personal experience about myself. Growing up, I wanted to be a boy. Like, I have an older brother, I have a younger brother, you know, boys and everything. I just liked that gender. I just wanted to identify as a boy. You know, I wasn't really so much affiliated with girls, you know. My mom would buy me things and I would say, no, I want the one my brothers are wearing. You understand? Like, all of that, my thoughts, every time I would just say, I'm like, I wish I was a boy. Why was I having these wishes? Because of some behavioral things that my brothers, I mean, they got away with some things, did this, did that, you understand? And I wanted to have that rough life, you know, run around. My mom would say, no, you enjoy yourself, and then they can play. You know, so many things that were expected of them, I wanted to partake in it.
Those things.
And, you know, there was this older man that would come and carry everybody, and then my mom was like, no, don't allow the man to be carrying you up like that. You know, you're a girl. And I was like, at that time, I'm like, why? But the boys, they're carrying them like that. So some things that I just expected, I wanted to identify as that.
Those things.
I started showing in my dressing. I didn't want to dress like girls. I wanted to wear what my brothers were wearing. I wanted to wear a shirt. I wanted to wear a shirt, you understand, and everything. I won't say that I can totally understand how they feel, but I have like, let me say a small, because I mean, I was still young, but I still have like an understanding a bit. I'll still call it a bit because I mean, it's a wide thing. So, growing up, you know, my mom would buy me heels. I'll say, no, I'll wear sneakers. I'll be dressed and be like, why don't you like dressing like a girl? Why don't you like it like a girl? I'm like, no, I don't. I like doing like a boy. And that's because I like the way boys acted. So I started growing up and my mom said, okay, you know what, you're going to learn makeup. She took me to a makeup school and she was trying to
make you a girl.
Make me more feminine. Yeah. So I started to like it. You know, like, this is actually nice. And I started getting more interest in makeup and I started getting more interest in feminine dressing and all of that and all of that. I was like, it's not bad, you know. And before you know it, I became more feminine than I was. That's why I think that you should give children a chance.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. Because at that stage, you cannot just say because they feel this way, you want to put them in that box and say this is how it is. What if they snap out of it? But the way things are going, I mean, we don't know the future yet, but I think it's going to be dangerous.
What's the real danger, though? Because
the real danger, because when they snap out of it, now they're stuck in that.
Right. So in that case, if I was going to be precise, we're talking about the gender surgeries that are performed on young people who may still be questioning themselves.
Exactly.
Right. And we do know that in many parts of Europe, where there had been a carte blanche for these surgeries, the courts have limited what you can do with children.
I mean, some men who are very masculine, I mean, even in behavior, they're seeing that men are being accepted into the womanhood thing, like a man can be a woman, and they're trying to take advantage of it.
Right.
In every rule you make, some people are trying to take advantage of these rules and trying.
Right. So you're like, before we make new rules, that because we know that people can take advantage of certain rules, we should be extremely careful before we change the rules.
Exactly. That's why I feel like we should just limit it to that
expression
identity. It also goes to, as I said, the biology part of it. Now, the biological part of it is that a man, biologically, we know men are stronger than women. I mean, women are strong, but we have our categories of strength. But when I'm talking about physical strength.
Physical strength on the average.
Men are trying to break into women's categories of sports, different things, and try and... I still see that it's still patriarchal to me.
There are people that can say there doesn't have to be an upside. It's simply a matter of human rights. That if a person says the way that they want to identify is as a woman, whether there's an upside or not, we should just allow the people be what they say they are at any point in time.
I think that's my own. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I'm coming to you, Miss.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying that these people are forcing it down your throat. I'm just saying that accept them. If this person is identifying as, this person is a guy, but he's telling you that I'm identifying as a woman, it shouldn't be so much of a big deal.
Okay, to push back on that,
no,
biologically, I know what she means.
Okay.
What if? I'm here with you. I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you. But the question is this, and I like that we're having a positive, energy conversation. Yeah. Even though there's disagreement, which is fine.
Yeah.
But what if you were the woman in a sport who has been working hard to get to the pinnacle of that sport by competing with, by and large, equals? The point at which somebody who has transitioned, who is physically stronger than you, faster than you, just based on biology, now switches off to your own, now transitions to your gender, and takes the glory for a thing that you've been working hard as a girl since you were a child, would you still feel that?
It's not done.
The expression is already
Okay, well, all right. But this is what I always have, because I had a conversation with men.
Yes.
I had a conversation with men, and I'm having a conversation with women. So it's just interesting to see the dynamics.
Yeah.
But there's something you said that's interesting. I think the debate has been made that it's essentially patriarchy in another name.
Yes.
Simple. Men just want to continue.
Because you say we're the best.
Controlling.
How about women who are identifying
How
as
many?
men?
No, let me tell you.
The numbers are very.
No,
I'm
let me
talking
tell
of Nigeria.
you.
I'll pick out Nigeria
Let
for
me tell you something. I don't know, but then the way I see things, social media and everything, the media, the way I've been seeing women who transition to men, they are peaceful.
Even the trans men outside the West, some of them sympathize with how their fellow community members treat and behave and want to force it down and want to take over the women's space because they understand that, we can express how we want to express. Doesn't mean we have to go and take from these women. It's okay if you want to identify as a cockroach, but don't come and name what I biologically do and give it something to suit you. What do you mean I chest feed? Just so that you can feel
People
involved or feel together. You can never breastfeed. Like literally, no matter the surgery you want to do.
Don't never say never though.
Okay, so even
because
menstruate,
medicine has a lot of things.
Okay, so but you can't do it at first, or you have to go through some processes, right? Okay. So that's why I find it very problematic. The fact that you can do whatever you want to do, but stop trying to penetrate.
So your issue is the category. So you can transition,
do whatever you want
can
to do.
Express, but the problem is the category. Do not take over a category.
Yes, just stay in your lane. Like
what do you also feel about finding love? There's also the problem of finding love. You meet somebody at the club, let's say a woman. You're attracted to the woman, oh nice, and you guys start talking and you get to know the woman more. Or let's say you do not even know, and then you find out that the woman was a man. And you as a man, you're already showing interest in this woman.
Somebody asked that question and said, but that means that you are attracted to that. Like, why would your attraction change? Because the genitals are not what you expected. That means that you're attracted to the person anyway.
Well, people will always be attracted. Like, that's why I said, I think it's just, I don't know. Because, within men's space, I feel like some men are attracted to some men, but maybe they will not take it sexual.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe this is freedom. So freedom is coming. So it's like this debate means that all those inhibitions that people have had for no reason other than socialization, now this movement of transition allows people to be themselves. So if you're a man and you're attracted to someone that has masculine features, rather than calling it a name that is now stigmatized, you can just be yourself. That's the valid argument. Because like if you're trying the person, then because you saw a penis, you're like, I'm not doing it again. That means something is
problem. Now you're also changing the sex. So what is the argument?
So what do you now want?
No, it is because you guys already have this mindset.
That's why you said to change the sex.
No, you guys are hostile to this thing. Like you already have this mindset that
my problem.
I'm not accepting this.
Allies. Immediately you just have a different opinion. You are against them.
I think what I find interesting about Messi, that Messi has actually studied this issue. Like she understands the language.
Christ.
She understands, but anyway.
It's to me, I don't hate anybody. I still say what I said with my chest. That it is coming from a place of identity crisis.
Right.
you're trying to find yourself. You couldn't find yourself as a child. You grow up now, and then the world says, oh, like, we can be this, we can be that. Oh, yes, I want to, because confusion is alarming. All of a sudden, you want to identify as a cockroach, as a chair.
Let me ask this question.
I have a, okay. You can go
No,
ahead.
make your point.
Okay. Now, when you say...
So, did you finish your point?
Yes, I did.
Existence, crisis, and all of that. What about the children who, since they've been born, that is how they have been?
How?
I mean, I have a friend who was a school teacher, I understand, and she was in a class, and this was like, I think maybe primary 1. And there's this boy who acts like a girl, everything like a girl. He has brothers, he has sisters. He's in a society full of men and women, you understand, like men and women rather. And this boy is still very feminine. And she's like, what went wrong? And she started asking this child, who do you live with? He said, I live with my grandma and my grandpa. You know, all the answers he was giving, there was nothing for her to say, boom. It was so natural. But his behaviors were super feminine. And he said, and he started crying. He said, I don't know why, but this is how I am.
The feeling parts. So there are some people that actually say they are non-binary. They are not men, they're not women. So
how do they feel?
How do they feel?
Them. I don't know.
They feel them.
She just decided she cannot know because she's not non-binary.
No, now
She's not.
See, you know, I feel like it's the non-binary.
You can only ask her about
That's not the non-binary now. It's like the characteristics of everything. They have their masculine part, they have their feminine part. They wake up on some days and they feel like a man. They wake up on some days they feel like a woman.
Yes,
So don't put me in that box.
That's non-binary, yes. So it's like, if I feel, so you say that's so.
That's a lot.
I have
So
a
you're saying
friend
if I feel like
one
a
time
woman-
she can be a girl, the next time she can be
I think being non-binary is actually, I think for many people, it's easier
Well, I
to
think
understand.
isn't that supposed to be like a dual personality kind of thing? Psychological.
It's a dual feeling kind of thing.
No, that's
Not
it.
feeling. Don't put that.
It's a personality.
It's a
too,
personality
because
thing.
They will start talking and they talk like a woman.
I think my anger is, or would I say pain, is that they are coming in, not educating us, but they're just trying to take the spotlight. Then that's where the patriarchy now comes. They're like, oh, are you really sure that you're a woman, or you just want to continue
and
the
they even start talking
patriarchy?
down on women.
Do you understand?
I don't want to mention some people, but they'll be like, you women, I'm better than you, I'm
Do
beautiful
you understand?
than you.
Now that's why people
And
will
then
not
women are not like a competition. I'm
open-minded.
still better than you as a man, better than you as a woman.
Right. So there's a
This is not supposed to be a conversation, actually.
Right.
You want to do your thing, do it. I want to do my thing, do it. We come in the middle, have peace, everybody goes their separate way. But when you now come into our spaces and you're trying to change, it's only Africa here that you've not heard those terms. Over the West, we've started hearing you don't bleed. A man will come out and invalidate the menstrual cramps that women have or labor pains. Why?
I think you guys, everybody out there should be open-minded. You know, accept this. These people want you to accept them. We know what it is, but just, accept. Mercy. I'm talking to you.
I love it. It's like, you know what it is, but
Why should we know? Like you say you know what it is, even countering everything. That means let's be delusional. When you say we know what it is.
No, that's not the word.
So when you say what you know what it is,
I think what she's trying to say is that people are struggling with a lot.
No,
That's not what
she's saying.
Mercy, you had your last word. I didn't interrupt you.
So now you're doing like delusional.
No, that's not it. That's not it.
But she's saying that
questioning
right.
her.
Okay,
Her
finish the
last
point.
words.
Finish.
No, they already
Interrupted. Okay, let me say this. Is it possible what you're saying is that people are going through a lot, and if all they're asking for, even if you have questions about some things that you're not sure about this argument, but just for the sake of, if you make this person feel included in, our human conversation, maybe we should suspend one or two of our arguments and just let them be. Is that what you're trying to say?
First of all, we need to deconstruct sex, sexuality, gender. They are three very different things.
Okay.
Sex is the biology of your body, the biological and physiological makeup of your body, genitals.
Right. And
genitals,
puberty
and so
and
I think it's not even genitals.
Okay.
Sex is your endocrinal system.
Okay, right. So all those things moving in your body, attraction,
hormones determine
secretion.
your attraction. Hormones determine what organs you develop.
Right.
Like, so your pituitary gland tells your body, because we come born with everything, XX, YX, and your pituitary gland says, okay, because that's why intersex people exist. Because the pituitary gland is like, oh, I know that, you have XX chromosomes, but I think you should also have this.
Right.
And it gives you. And then, and so at the point of birth is when you realize that, oh, I have extra, or I don't have enough, which is what the people on the spectrum of sex.
Yeah.
Some people have too much, some people don't have enough, some people have just right. And so that is sex. Sexuality is attraction. I'm attracted to a man,
Right.
I'm attracted to a woman,
Yeah.
I'm attracted to personality, I am demisexual, which means I'm attracted to intelligence, I'm polyamorous, which means I have multiple attractions at the same time, and I feel compelled to explore all those these things. Now, attraction fundamentally is a blank slate. You are either attracted to men, women, men and women generally. Now, where sexuality now intersects with gender is that you cannot sleep with everybody you are attracted to. It is statistically impossible, and so we must choose using arbitrary metrics that we decide for ourselves. Out of these 3-point-something million men, as a woman who's attracted to men, which ones do I sleep with? Which ones do I build a life with? Which ones do I, choose publicly? Because anybody will tell you, like people who are sexually active will tell you that the people that they sleep with are very different from the people that they associate with on like a romantic or a sexual. They are two very different things. Like there are people who we want to, like on a physical level, we're super attracted to them, but we know it just won't work. Like none of the indices are correct. We cannot explain why we want to sleep with them, but we want to sleep with them. And so that's where gender comes in, because gender is now the performance, the social performance that we do so that we can move through the world. And a lot of people, like trans people, non-binary people, when they perform gender, they're not performing gender in a relationship. They're performing gender to the world. And so it's not a sex thing. It's not I'm attracted to this person, so so when people say, oh, I'm trans, it's because I see the world, or I experience the world from an exceedingly feminine perspective. And in my masculine body, most of my experiences are not validated, because when I want something, or I desire something, or I feel something, when I try to interact with people based on that feeling or that desire, they tell me that I am biologically wrong to feel that desire. Way. And so it's invalidated consistently.
So it seems like what is happening is that in a world of double standards, certain people who have been marginalized are using those same double standards against the world.
Yes. That's why there's so much betrayal around passing. Because like, I thought, like the whole idea of passing is that we are conditioned to believe that I can spot a biological man, I can spot a biological woman. There are these mannerisms, there are these affectations, dress, things that should tell me instinctively that I'm interacting with. And based on that interaction, I can give certain performances. Most people will tell you that people who are attracted to trans people know. They know. Like, it is very, very,
they know that the people are
hard.
trans.
Yes, it's very hard to pass. Very, very hard.
Both ways?
Both ways. Because, for example, when a trans woman transitions into feminine, like biologically transitions, her voice doesn't change. She has to modulate her voice physically. Like, you have to learn how to speak in a softer, lighter tone. And so, nobody passes completely. And I'll give just one example before I finish. And that is dilation, which, please Google it.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, what is dilation?
So dilation in for trans femme people is when trans woman transitions genetically, the vagina that is created is a muscle that essentially is not used to being a vagina. And so it must be trained. And so by insertion of certain objects, and those objects are put in on average, so you start with a 2-centimeter prosthetic, and then you increase and increase to the size and the length you want the vagina to be. And you must do this for the rest of your life. Otherwise, the muscle atrophies. So this has nothing to do with sex. Like, it's not even like a sex thing. Like, it's like in the event, maybe sometime in your life you want to have sex, and you want to have a 9-inch, a vagina that can take 9 inches, you have to dilate for the rest of your life to basically keep your vagina at that place. And so to think about somebody having to do that for the rest of their life, and to think that, you know, when a person does gender confirmation surgery, they're doing it because, you know, they want to trick you. Like, it's such a ridiculous concept if you do a little bit of research to understand the complexities of transitioning.
I like to say that gender, like sexuality, is a spectrum, and it is so comprehensive. And the way the human being is built, we are so dynamic. There are different sides to us. There's something called adaptation even in biology, where if, for example, you're conditioned or used to putting maybe your hand in very hot water, after a while, you just get used to it. So that is to tell you that the human being, you know, themselves has, you know, the ability to be whatever they want to be. And I think that it is quite hypocritical for the society to now try to make you fit into a box when you're actually created to be dynamic, to be more than, you know, what, you know, the society has created for you. So I think people's roles, gender, sexuality, you don't drag it with them. You let people be who they want to be.
Me transitioning or me deciding that I want to be a woman today, it doesn't mean I have stopped being married. I am still married with the same knowledge, with the same experience, with the same qualities, with the same everything that I have. I have just decided that, okay, today I want to dress and be addressed as a woman. It doesn't change who I am.
Who are we then? if you take out biology, if you take out culture, if you take out society, then who is the we? What is that? How do we identify who ourselves are? Because for many years, for many millennia, if you're talking about gender studies, biology, social studies, they kind of taught us to see ourselves as a collection of our biology and our social roles, you know. So it's like now, if you say, okay, all of these things don't matter, I'm losing you, I am married, and that's what matters, then who is married if biology doesn't matter, social doesn't matter, culture doesn't matter? Then who is married?
Okay, I would say marriage is just a woman being like every other person.
Right. So marriage is
who marriage wants to be.
Marriage is who marriage wants to be at any point in time.
And you should respect that.
What you see is what you get.
Okay, so I understand that women, I am very passionate about women. I mean, I love them so much. I did a project for them. I love them so much. So I understand the fact that women and maybe the girl child, I mean, women now as an older female, and, you know, I understand the fact that they are more at risk because of their biological makeup now. Many women are not very physical and all of that. But then I don't think that with the way things are now, with the knowledge that we have now that sexuality or gender is a spectrum and that people can have multiple personalities in them. So with the things that we know now, I think it is also fair for us to acknowledge that because Nkechi is woman, does not mean that Nkechi cannot beat up Maris that is a man. Because it is not biological makeup. Sometimes, and these things are tricky, biological makeup is not enough justification to just say that Nkechi faces more threat than Maris. Because
there's all kinds of, on the spectrum, there's all kind of outliers.
Exactly.
If you go back like 10, 20 years, if someone like Bobrisky comes out to the market, they will stone him. Do you understand? But you know, now gradually, in as much as everybody has not accepted it, gradually people are adjusting. Do you understand? So, in as much as we want people to love us for who we are, do you understand? I think we need to give people time to understand who we are becoming.
Okay.
Do you understand? I cannot just come and shove my identity down your throat. Do you understand? In as much as I want you to accept me, but I need to give you time to understand where I'm coming from, where I am, and where I'm going to.
Being a cross-dresser now, it is possible, it is your profession, in the sense that you're an influencer, and people tend to, you know, come to your page because the way you do makes them laugh and makes them, you know, come and, you know, patronize people you are advertising for. That is another thing. But you now going outside there, still dress the way you dress to sell people's market. That is what I won't take.
I see cross-dressing in two different ways.
Okay.
As a medium of self-expression. Okay, this is
Yes.
who I am. This is what I identify or who I identify as.
Yeah.
And I see it as entertainment as well. And now that crosses over to, you know, drag queens and all of that. But we don't have as much of that here. But in our setting here in Nigeria, we already see the model cross-dressers as jokes. So if a child walks up to his mom and says, okay, Mom, this is how I want to be identified as, this is how I want to dress, the first statement that will come out of the mother's mouth is, are you Bobrisky? Are you James Brown? Do you understand? So I think correcting it from even that point, from that stage, and, you know, making these guys know that, make people understand that you are not a joke. This is not, this is deeper than coming online, twerking, dragging, fighting. Because at the end of the day, that is the only thing they will identify the other people as.
Gender fluidity is being a man in Nigeria. And even though men are not popularly known to be makeup artists, I say I want to be a makeup artist. And because I support gender fluidity, I should be allowed to be a makeup artist. So that is not...
So is that different from a person who was born and assigned male at birth, waking up in 20 years and saying, I'm a woman?
It is different.
It is different. Is it different?
It is different.
It is. Right. So that's not gender fluidity. That's what?
No, that one is more like transitioning. That is you trying to say, oh, this is, maybe you've had, you know, you need to have like a psychological rebirth. It's
but you are fine. But you are fine with that.
Consciousness. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, great. So in that case, if the point is, what if Bobrisky says that they are doing both at the same time?
The fact that there is denial is what I have a problem with. If you come to realization that I am a man, but I think I should have been a woman, or I am actually a woman that is trapped in a man's body, there is realization, you're accepting. But what I have an issue with plenty Nigerians and cross-dressers is that they are not accepting that this is who they are. So you're confusing people. That's what I have an issue with.
Do you think that a person can be a man and be a woman and go back to being a man?
Yes. Yes, it's possible. That is why the process of transitioning is very tedious. And that is why most times when you're transitioning, they always advise that you don't do major surgeries, because it's called detransitioning. Because sometimes, like I said, the human being is dynamic. You can be a lot of things. So you have to, that's why you have to figure out who exactly you are. Because on your own, don't leave it for the public to decide for you. Don't confuse people. So when you figure out who you are, you come out of the closet, and then you now say, this is me.
So first figure out who you are in private.
Exactly.
Before coming out in public.
In public, then we would accept you.
Right.
Not that you will now go and do major surgeries now, and you become a woman, and then you now realize that, hey, God, oh God, I beg, a mistake I make. Because detransitioning is crazy.
Right.
You don't even want to detransition in your life as a transgender person.
He's saying pick a struggle, but be careful, take your time before you pick the struggle. And you are saying, and certainly finish picking the struggle before you come out in public. And you are saying because it affects people who are also trying to figure out themselves when you cause that confusion. And you are saying, pay attention to your own society. Your society is not accepting this thing. The more you struggle against the society, the more you put yourself and others at risk. I mean, I guess that some things you don't arrive at easy answers with certain questions. And society continues to figure out the best way to treat people, but hopefully everybody with fairness, with dignity, and with kindness.
Definitely.
Yeah? Thank you so much for joining me today.